Alright, welcome to my tutorial. Today we'll be going over the assignment Day for Night from the How to Cheat in Photoshop book, CS6. Our assignment today is to change this beautiful daytime photograph into a nighttime photograph. It's a nice trick that eliminates the need for extra lighting or special camera settings. So our first step is we're going to need to add a new layer. So we'll go down here and grab the new layer. We're going to turn that layer black. So if you hit Control A, it'll select the whole thing. Next, make sure your default colors are selected and then swap them. Finally, all you have to do is hit Control Backspace and your black layer appears. Alright, so we'll need to pull that black layer below the rooftops layer. Feel free to give it a name. I'm going to name it mine black. And this will be handy for when we erase the background here. Now to erase the background in the picture, we're going to use the background eraser tool. It's hidden behind the regular eraser tool. So if you just hop over here to the menu and then drag down to the background eraser tool. Now 56 is a good tolerance for this particular picture. You can use others if you need. And then you're going to want a large brush size because we don't want to spend all day doing this. Before you do any erasing, it's important to make sure we have the proper layer selected. So we'll click rooftops, and then you also want your default colors back, so you have to click over here. Alright, this tool is pretty cool. You can just click and drag, and you'll notice it just starts eliminating the sky. There's a plus sign in the center of the circle, which tells the computer which colors you want gone. Make sure you don't do too long of strokes though, because if you make mistakes, it's a lot easier to back up one step than start from the beginning. So, after you got the big parts, there, we'll have to back up. You can shrink down your brush size and zoom in and work on the smaller parts. Alright, I've skipped ahead. You can feel free to pause the video to catch up. Alright, now we can zoom out. We're going to need to turn off our black layer's visibility and bring the sky out. This way you'll notice that the buildings are far too light yet. It's easy to tell that this was originally a daytime photograph. So we'll have to insert a curve layer to darken the image. You'll want to control click your rooftops layer. That'll select all the pixels of it, so it'll automatically mask your new layer. So go up here, grab the curves, click that, and we're just going to bring down the white point a bit. I like to bring it down to an even 200. So you can just click here and enter the number is the easiest way. But you'll notice we've lost a lot of contrast. So we'll have to add a slight S to the curve. We're going to add 2 points. The left point we are going to set at 146, 100. And the right point we'll set at 214, 178. You'll notice we've got our contrast back. Now before we go further, we're going to want to make it slightly blue. It gives it a nice nighttime effect. We don't want to actually increase the blue though, because the rooftop will just get far too vibrant. So we'll reduce the red and green instead. We'll just grab the white point on the red, bring that down to 245. And do the same for the green. And now before you leave, make sure it's clipped just in case. Could cause trouble later, although we have a clipping mask, so probably not. Alright, now you'll notice that the building on the right is still too light. So what we'll have to do, since we can't do a global filter, is do a localized curve adjustment. So we'll go over here and grab your polygonal lasso tool. I find it's nice because you can just click from point to point and hit backspace if you make a mistake. Alright, I've made my selection. Feel free to pause if you need to make yours. It's important to notice before we proceed further, I've got my feather set to 0.8 pixels. Really anywhere between 0.5 and 1.0 works, but this is what I have mine set at. So I have to take off my quick mask, and then I'm going to just insert a curves layer. Because it's selected already, it automatically masks it, which is convenient. Now we're going to need to bring down that white point, but let's move this over here so everyone can see. So we're going to bring that white point down to 182. Now you'll notice it's darker and the contrast is still good, but it needs to be bluer to match the rest. So we'll just bring down the red down to 245 like we did before. But this time we only need to bring the green down to 250. You'll notice it matches better. Now we'll have to move this back over here to get it out of the way. The next step is we have to select these windows because we're going to light them up and make the house look inhabited. Alright, so we need our polygonal lasso tool again. Notice we still have feather set. And then you just click around the edges to select the windows. Be careful of the bars running through. So if you do manage to light those up in the next step, it'll look kind of funny. Alright, once again I have my selection already up. You can pause the video and make your selection. Alright, I'm exiting out of quick mask so we can do what we need to. Make sure you have your rooftops layer selected. And then we'll copy the windows with Control-C and paste them with Control-V. There, now we have a new layer with just the windows. Alright, let's light those babies up. So we're going to Control-click that so that we only select those pixels and introduce another curves layer. For this curves layer we need to make it light and yellow. So we're going to take that white point, instead of dragging it down, we're going to drag it to the left. So we'll take this left number, we're going to change that to 129. You notice it's a lot lighter, but it still looks kind of strange. So we're going to increase the red and decrease the blue for this one. We're going to add a center point to our red curve. We're going to change its numbers to 122 and 167. Now we have pink windows. We're going to go down to blue, put in another center point, and change this one to 125 and 61. There, now we have kind of a yellow orange goldenrod. The bottom windows look a little strange, but we're going to add some street glow in our final step, and that will take care of that. So we're going to collapse this. We're going to click on this and then just duplicate that layer because we want those same effects. We just are going to apply them in a different way. So go up to duplicate layer here. It was in this corner menu in case you missed it. You can just name that one Street Glow. Alright, well that looks pretty terrible with those windows like that, but that won't stay like that for very long. Click on this mask here, then you're going to need your gradient tool. It's often hidden under the paint bucket tool, right over here. So you hit the gradient tool, then we're going to select the gradient. For this one we want black to white, and you just click, hold shift, pull straight down, it's going to straighten it anyways, and release. And there we go, we've got street glow. Looks like there's lights going on in the street. Kind of looks like someone's headlights are shining here. So we'll just bring that a little bit lower. There we go. Now then, if you'd like to compare it to the original, we can do that and see how far we've come. Wow, that's quite the change. Alright, my name is Joe. Thanks for coming by my tutorial. And this is probably the only one I'll do. So hopefully I've been able to teach you something.